TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
We are back. It's Mazzi. It's Live Zone. Here for a festive Live 5. We're rocking out with some ugly Christmas sweaters. If we do say so ourselves, we're skiing around town. It's snowing outside the studio right now. Don't know how the trip home's going to be, but hey, we're still bringing it to you live with a Live 5 Live Zone. That's a lot of live. We're all alive, feeling alive, loving life. Live Zone. What's going on, dude?
I'm doing well. I'm here. As you know, it is snowing here in the Boston area. I got my coffee here. Thank you, Mary Lou's. We got a lot of football to talk about.
No free plugs.
We got a lot to talk about. Got a fun one here. Thought we were doing a little bit too much offense. So what are we doing today? Let us know.
We're doing defensive chat, and we're starting with the best corner and safety duos we've seen in the NFL, or haven't seen because we haven't been alive for the entirety of the NFL. But we're talking about the best, in our opinion, this week. We're going tit for tat, 1-for-1, 5-1 on the list. Live Zone. I want to start it out with you. I want to hear what your number 5 is going to be on this list. Take it away.
So my number 5 is actually going to be what I would consider the best cornerback of all time. I'm going to have the 95 Cowboys up here with Deion Sanders and Larry Brown. Only played 1 year together, so that's the reason why I'm over here with number 5 on them. But 8 interceptions, 5 of those interceptions being pick sixes, 303 return yards on those picks. And also a Super Bowl win. Can't hate on it. Really played like Batman and Robin duo. So had to put him up here. Had to have Deion Sanders up here. So I decided to go with his counterpart in Larry Brown.
I like the Deion Sanders pick. I'd listen any Deion Sanders year with the cornerback on it. I think you could take him and whoever he was playing with. He's that good of a player. I'm going to have Deion in my list coming up later, but I'll show you who I paired him with. I don't hate the pick, okay? I love the last Super Bowl for the Cowboys, everything that's going on with that. So, yeah, love it. My number 5 is hometown bias, hometown favorites. I want to give an honorable mention to Ty Law, who didn't make this list for my New England Patriots, but for the New England Patriots corner and safety matchup that I have at number 5 is the brothers, the twins, Devin McCourty and Jason McCourty, okay? From 2018 to 2020, I want to specifically highlight the 2019 Super Bowl win. First twins, brothers on the same team to play in a Super Bowl and win in a Super Bowl. And the defense, a huge part about this. With this team this year, in 2019. 13-3, they won the Super Bowl. They held Jared Goff to 229 passing yards, no TDs, an interception, a QBR of 16, and a 19 out of 38 on the passing, so 50% passing. And that's the secondary that was starting in that Super Bowl, Jason McCourty and Devin McCourty. Little fun fact is Devin McCourty in that year gave up 5 touchdowns and 230 yards total to receivers that were put on him for a year. 230 yards total on a year given up is ridiculous. That's a crazy stat. So, and looking at this Patriots defense on top of it, it went from the top down. They were giving up 14 points a game in 2019. I'm pretty sure Jameis Winston could have led that team to a Super Bowl. That defense giving up that little of amount of points. Like, you put in a quarterback in there making it happen there. I gotta show respect where respect is due to the twins, Devin and Jason all day. Love them. I've seen them out in public. I've never said what up, but great people also.
All right, all right. Yeah, I like the pick. I don't know if I would, like I said, for everybody that thinks that we're talking about the best of the best here. If we were talking about the best of the best, the list would be the same. So we're really going based off of our own opinion and who our favorites are. Bring back some names that you maybe have forgotten about. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring back some names here. I'm going to go with my number 4 here. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots as well, but I'm going to go way back. I'm going to go with Ty Law and Lawyer.
Shout out Ty Law.
Yeah.
And who? And
Lawyer Malloy.
Okay.
So with these two guys, I mean, 38 interceptions, over 4 fumble recoveries, 5 years together, really the branch on that defense for the first few Super Bowls for the New England Patriots. Without Ty Law, we don't get one of those with that interception that he had for that pick 6. So I had to put him up here as a Patriots fan. I had to go far back. I looked at the McCourty twins. I looked at Darrelle Revis and Brandon Browner. I looked at Darrelle Revis and McCourty. It just didn't put up the same nostalgia as Ty Law and Lawyer Malloy put up for me. I mean, we talk about how the game has changed. These two were headhunters. If you got in their way, they were putting you on the ground. They were one of the meanest defensive secondaries in the league at that time. Had to put them up here, so I put them at my number 4.
Don't forget, I respect the nostalgia aspect. I personally might have gone Ty Law, Asante Samuel if it was me, but that just might be me.
Only
and then
2 years together.
2 years. Yeah, I just that pairing was goated. So,
Yeah.
But the McCourty brothers are in there just because it touches my heart that the two brothers got to win. It's Cinderella, honestly, for the mom. Watching her 2 sons win a Super Bowl together is crazy. That's awesome and truly awesome for them too. I don't hate your number 4. I like it. Ty Law getting in the show at any point in time. I'm all for old time Patriots getting in the show at any time. I'm all for. We love that. My number 4 is the exact opposite of a Patriots one. So we're going to the Denver Broncos here. We're going to 2014. And we're talking about the no-fly zone, okay? The no-fly zone. Aqib Talib and Chris Harris Jr. I should have made the bridge. Aqib Talib was a Patriot at one point, so I guess it's not super far. But nonetheless, he definitely was not a New England Patriot when he was on the Denver Broncos. He even made problems with New England when they came to town against Denver. We won't get into that, but they were on lockdown defense. I mean, look at this. You look at every single drive that was given up and average it out throughout the year for this 2014 Denver's Broncos. The average drive against this defense was 1 yard. Was 1 yard. That's absurd. Okay, number 2 in rush defense, top 10 in pass defense. There's not much you can really say about this team. You threw the ball and you were looking for something to get either blocked, deflected, or intercepted. I mean, both of these guys had 3 interceptions on the year. Could have been a lot more. There was a lot that fell through or slipped through the palms, but to show for, they had 6 together. But the real number was the passing yards allowed. Number 2 that season. They didn't get it done when it came down to winning a Super Bowl, but they didn't take any crap from any team. These guys would get in your face from the line of scrimmage and then obviously play within the bounds of the rules to the referee's eyes, and then after the play be right in your face chirping you out and getting you off your mental game to end up making mistakes against these guys. That was what was awesome to see about it. They really get it. Remember, I'm pretty sure Aqib Talib's the one who snatched the chain, but I forget who he snatched the chain off of. But he definitely walked up and snatched the chain. And that just like iconic stuff. The no-fly zone out in Denver too. What a name. Love it. Up there with Legion of Boom, which I don't know if we'll get to. They're not on my list. Spoiler. They're not on my list. All right. So that's my number 4 though.
Yeah, no, I definitely love the pick. Aqib Talib is one of my personal favorite players in this generation of football when it comes to defense. He's definitely in my top 5. Definitely a forgotten name, so I understand why you have him. We're going to get back to our list, but before we do have an ad from one of our sponsors, Mr. Atlanta Seafood and Steaks. Make sure you go say hi to Terry on Facebook, but we'll be right back. Hope you enjoy.
Back. We are back just like that. It's Live Zone and it's Mazzi rocking with you. We're halfway through our live 5 list of the best cornerback, safety, or cornerback and cornerback duo, whatever you want to chop it up to. Live Zone, I think we had it off to you when we hit the commercial break. We're looking for your number 3 on this top 5 list. Who's it going to be?
Now, this is where it gets interesting because if you know Patrick Surtain II, he is one of the best secondary players in the league right now. But I'm going to go with his father. I'm going to go with the 03 Miami Dolphins, Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain. They were together from 1998 to 2004. One got there a year before, but in their time together, 60 interceptions, 2 fumble, and 2 returning for a touchdown. 7 years together. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins didn't have much to look forward to at that time, but one of the things that they did look forward to was having one of the best secondaries in the league. So had to put them up here. Forgotten names, especially in the Miami Dolphins world.
Was that Ricky Williams days down in Miami?
I believe so. Yes, it was.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So a team that should have been a lot better, but unfortunately management didn't put the pieces together. They had 7 years with these 2 guys in the secondary. One of the best secondaries in our time. So I mean, 60 interceptions in 7 years. That's a lot of takeaways. Had to put them up here as my number 3.
That's probably why they gave Brady a lot of trouble over the years. Probably why. A lot to do with it right there. 7-year span of dealing with that. Not that bad. Well, I mean, I guess for Brady a couple years, but nonetheless, still tough duo. I would have never bucket pulled that. That's a crazy pull. Honestly, truly, I would have never pulled that. That's a crazy one. I love it. I love it. Get the names out the hat. We're moving right along. I'm going to go with my 3. I got Dion halfway up the list. I mean, you got to respect game where game is due. Not even just for the fact of his cornerback and safety play, all right? Now, I'm picking Dion from the 49ers when he won the Super Bowl. And let me tell you this, you can give me any cornerback and any safety from this team to pair alongside him. He could be there by himself. You know what I'm saying? This man went crazy. Led the San Francisco 49ers to a Super Bowl. Not only doing that, he also was playing Major League Baseball at the same time. So let's look at this for what it is. He was truly dominant on the field as a football player, as well as on the field as a baseball player, and won a Super Bowl. 6 interceptions on the year, 3 of them returned for touchdowns. That means 50% on 6 interceptions. Truly remarkable year. He had a 93-yard touchdown return. I mean, he only played 14 games, but can you blame him? He was also playing baseball. I mean, just Deion Sanders deserves to be on this list when we're talking about corner safeties. It's just you look at the highlight tape. He was faster than everybody. It looked like he glided through the air. Looked like the ball found him and went into his hand, and he didn't catch it. It kind of just laid there, and then he'd run with it and do what he's got to do. I mean, it was prime time. What do you expect? He's still doing his thing coaching nowadays too. I love it. Whatever Deion sets his mind to, Deion gets done, and it's crazy and it's awesome. It's amazing to see back-to-back Super Bowls with 2 different teams. Crazy feat right there. San Fran to Dallas. What a choice in changing rivalries and winning one Super Bowl in San Fran and then going to the rival Dallas and winning a Super Bowl. That's crazy. I don't know how Cowboys fans and 49ers fans feel about that. I would feel better as a Cowboys fan, probably on the backside of it, being like, he shows us. 49ers, I'd feel a little salty. That's another wild story in there, but let alone the play, the talent and everything of him. He was a formidable force and a big reason why they won a Super Bowl as well. Don't forget they had Jerry Rice and Steve Young and Christian McCaffrey's dad on the other side, Ed McCaffrey at wide receiver. So they were pretty loaded up too with talent, but you got to win on both sides of the ball to get it done. So I had to put Deion up here.
Now, I definitely agree with having Deion up there in some sort of way or form. I do like how you picked the 49ers and I picked the Dallas Cowboys because it shows how dominant he was in both years. He had 3 picks or 3 picks for pick sixes, correct? In 49ers. And then after that, after that, between him and Larry Brown in the Cowboys days, he had 8 picks and 5 of them were returned for touchdowns. So I totally understand why. I will say that if you watch some of the documentaries on Deion, he was extremely tired going from one game to the next, and it led him to just picking one sport. But he said that if he had to do it again, he would. Honestly, I would say that Deion Sanders. I know a lot of people might hate on this, but when we think of football and we think of the game of football, I think he's top 3 for best football players of all time, not just defensive players or his position. I think when we think of football, his name comes up a lot, so he definitely deserves to be on this list. So I agree 110%. I put him further down though because of these guys right here. We mentioned them a little bit beforehand. I'm bringing the best secondary that we have seen in our time of watching football. For my number 2. I have the Legion of Boom. I mean, 64 interceptions, Super Bowl win against the Denver Broncos. Fewest points allowed in that era of football with only 213, and did this for 6 years. Whenever you were on the field with the Legion of Boom, if your name was not Tom Brady, you were scared to play this team because of how great they were on the defensive side. Nobody wanted to match up with these guys. The same way in years prior that people didn't want to match up with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. That is what we're looking at. It's the same style of defense that we've seen from the Legion of Boom. Unfortunately, Ray Lewis was not a secondary player. He was a linebacker, so we couldn't put him on this list. But we do get to put the Legion of Boom on here with Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, and Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman, by the way, out of these 64 interceptions, he had 31 of them. So that's an insane stat line as well. That's something that I pulled out of my hat. And 6 Pro Bowls as well from all 3 of them. Like I said, 6 years of doing this with a Super Bowl win. Almost had 2 if they didn't run into Brady. I mean, you got to look at this as
if they didn't run into Brady, if they ran into the end zone, they would have 2.
Well, yeah, 110%. But they ran into the wrong team. That's all it was.
Yeah, literally. Maybe threw it to the wrong. Ironic that they lost on a safety intercepting the ball.
Yeah, so
the classic Sherman face.
I will say, yes, they did have a pretty bad falling off. Earl Thomas got hurt. Richard Sherman got released, and then Cam Chancellor ended up retiring. But when they were in their prime all together, they were a force to be reckoned with, and it's crazy to me that you don't have them on this list.
I don't have them on this list, but I think it's a great pick. I feel some type of way against Richard Sherman and all that, but we won't get into that. I respect him as a person, but as a football player, I didn't care for him that much. I respect his game, though. But the reason I don't have them on my list is because one is a lock for me after reading about everything and going way back. We'll get to that in a minute. But this second one, I was doing my research. And my God, I'm smiling so much because this is nostalgia for me. One of my favorite football players ever as a kid that got me into football seriously was a cornerback, and his name was Antonio Cromartie. Okay? Antonio Cromartie. All right? I found him when I was just a wee lad, when he played for, yes, the San Diego Chargers. A great time, a great era. But that's not the team I'm picking. I'm picking the 2010 to 2012 New York Jets. I never thought I'd say those words in my life. And I'm picking Darrelle Revis and Antonio Cromartie in the secondary for this team. Oh my Lord. Okay, let me put this in perspective. Antonio Cromartie played from 2010 to 2013 with the Jets. Guess how many touchdowns were scored on him one-on-one through that time?
2.
1. Crazy. 1 touchdown in 4 years on your head top. That means you're locking people down. Oh, not to mention, you got Darrelle Revis on the other side. Now let's look at this Jets team and what it had to offer, okay? Now, this was primarily a Mark Sanchez-led offense for this Jets, a Rex Ryan coach team, which is nothing too shabby. And they actually had a late LT, LaDainian Tomlinson in 2010. I don't know if he played 2011, but get this. In their deepest run to the AFC Championship, with this safety and cornerback combination, they played, ready? First round, Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning, shut them down 1. With a Mark Sanchez-led team, your defense needs to step up. Guess who they got round 2? 14-2 New England Patriots and Tom Brady. Guess what they did? They beat them. Moved on to the AFC Championship. Guess who they played? Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost and didn't make it to the finals. But realistically, if this secondary could have pulled off that win and put them right in the Super Bowl, we might be talking about this secondary as one of the greatest secondaries ever, just to put you in those games, let alone to have a quarterback named Mark Sanchez leading you almost to a Super Bowl. Okay, let's put that in perspective. Shout out Rex Ryan for his coaching job. I know you've said to me off camera before, shout out Rex Ryan, he should be a top 10 or whatever. I still hold off on that, but I got to give him respect for what he did with that. You got Darrelle Revis and Antonio Cromartie just locking people down on the outside. I mean, it's absurd. We already know about Darrelle Revis on Revis Island. 4 years this was going on against New England as well. and Tom Brady playing them twice a year. And Tom Brady Tom Brady always ended up beating the Jets, but those games were tough, low-scoring games. He was not blowing the Jets out in games whatsoever. It was under 30 points nearly 100% of the time.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with the pick. I agree with the stance on, Darrelle Revis and everything like that. I agree 110%. The offense was lacking heavily for me to even put them on here. I'm glad you put them on here because they do deserve to be on here. But man,
That's what made them more for me was essentially
yeah.
the offense not being there was like they had to carry that shit more.
110%. And without them, you wouldn't be seeing this Jets team be talked about at all.
11-5 that year, and they made it to the AFC Championship, bro. With Mark Sanchez. Oh my God. Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, I agree. All right. We got one more sponsor ad for you. If you haven't checked it out yet, Viva Tequila Seltzer. They're pretty good. Their new flavor is lemon. They also got
I tried the elderberry.
Yep, coconut.
I tried the elderberry.
Watermelon, grapefruit if you're into that. But yeah, so we'll be right back and we'll get into number one. Mazzi's pretty hyped about the number one, so I'm gonna let him.
I'm liking the number one, bro. I did a lot of research, bro.
Yeah. So with that being said, we'll be right back.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We got one more on this Live 5 list. Best cornerback safety duos, cornerback and cornerback duos. We had to flip back in the books for this number one. All right. You got to give respect where respect is due to these old folks sometimes. All right. Respect your elders, I guess. But we really just got to look at this for what it is. We're throwing it back to the 70s. The great Pittsburgh Steelers days in the 70s when football was more about defense than offense. We actually had even a league rule change at this time because of this player and the way he played the game and how dominant he was. So we're throwing it back to the 1970 Pittsburgh Steelers. You could pick a year, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, whatever you want to do. Just pick one, all right? You got Mel Blount playing back there, and then you got JT Thomas on there too, okay? Yeah. From 1974 to 1976, they were both cornerbacks. Then JT hopped to safety and said, I'll stick around for another 6 years and play with you. 9 years together in all. Over the 3-year span that they were corners together, 2 Super Bowls. All right, that's crazy right there. Over that span, JT had 10 interceptions. Mel Blount had 19. So that means every single year you were guaranteed 10 interceptions from the secondary, which is absurd. Okay, yep. Just thinking about that, that's absurd. On top of it, over the 9 years they're together in Pittsburgh, 4 Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback, of course, but this was a time in football where Terry Bradshaw had games where he didn't throw more than 9 passes. Okay, that shows you how crazy this is. Mel Blount and JT Thomas were getting these numbers off of a third of the passing attempts that we see in today's game. Okay, we see people throwing 30 passes all day. They were throwing maybe 10 to 15 back there, and they were still putting up 10 interceptions. 10 interceptions nowadays is great as well. It's still the same thing. So it's truly remarkable to see that. On top of it, doesn't get talked about enough. I just learned about it. Mel Blount made the rule change in 1978 with the 5-yard rule, which means cornerbacks, safeties, whoever's guarding the wide receiver, they can give them hell for 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, then they got to back off. That's when we get PIs, okay? One thing is Mel Blount, if it was PIs going on, it would have been a whole different story, okay? But he was locking down these receivers, giving them hell the whole way, just pretty much staring at them, turning around, grabbing the ball. It's crazy to look at. I mean, Mel Blount finished career with 57 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 13 fumble recoveries, 2 touchdowns on those, all pro 4 times and 5 Pro Bowls, 4 Super Bowls as well in 13 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm really giving it because of Mel Blount. You could have put anybody alongside of kind of like a Deion Sanders. I think he was just a leader and everybody followed suit. And that play was so dominant that it just ran through the whole defense and made it so they could get these W's. Shout out JT Thomas for keeping up statistically with Mel Blount for a little bit over those years and hanging with him. I love it. One more nugget is Mel Blount in 1972 gave up 0 touchdowns the entire season. Not a single one. I mean, props to him. I wish I could have seen the tape. I could probably go back and find some tape, but I wish I could have seen it live.
Yeah, no, definitely. There was only one option for number 1 at this choice. Yeah, we didn't get to watch them, but with the stats that we're looking at and with what we can picture based off of those years, you have to have them in this list somewhere. If not 1, definitely number 2. But yeah, different game back then. Crazy stats for what the game was giving us at that time. Obviously, had to be number 1 in my eyes.
It's no question. Gotta give it, like I said, respect where respect is due. Those Steelers teams in the 70s were nothing to sleep on whatsoever. You know what else isn't something to sleep on is East Coast Sports Investors, Live Zone Sports Podcast, The Closing Bell, Breakfast Bankroll, to name a few. Okay, we got a lot of friends. We hope you do too. Check us out every week. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. Live Zone. Where can they find us?
Yeah, they can find me at least at real_livezone on X. You can also find us at East Coast Sports Investors on X as well. TikTok is live_zone_himself, as well as Instagram. You can just look up CJ Nicholas. It will pop up right there. Yeah, got Christmas coming. Hope everybody has happy holidays as well. Hope everybody enjoys with their family. And you know, we're gonna keep on doing our thing here. We got a lot coming to you. Tuesday.
Happy holidays,
Yeah,
everybody.
Tuesday we will be here for the extra point somehow, some way. We will make it happen. So just know that that's coming as well. If it has to be, you know, just me or just Kyle for that podcast, it will happen. So we will be here for Tuesday. Wednesday, we will not be here though. Enjoy it with your family. It's Christmas. And yeah, I got the Christmas vibe going. So just rocking and rolling with that.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you have a great Christmas or whatever you're doing with your friends, family, whatever you got going on. Just be around people you love and things that you love to do. Don't do anything you don't want to do right now, okay? This is not the time to do that. Stick with us. We're posting all the time. It's Maserati1 on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'll be talking to y'all through the TikTok, East Coast Sports Investors. Be checking us out. We're posting daily content all the time. Thank you for sticking with us. there's live bets and everything going on. The Super Bowl odds at the bottom too. You got bets live going on. Check out Jeff's picks. East Coast Sports Investors, you can Google it, find out the packages right there. It's #1 on Google. Check it out. They've been doing it a long time. It's going on to 10 years. We're hoping to keeping it rolling with them, rocking and rolling. Shout out the sponsors, WagerWire, Atlanta Seafood and Steaks, Viva, Sports Revol, Rhythm, everybody. Thank you as always. Stay tuned.